Dun, 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 dun. Log in. All right, so here's a link to that. There we go. I'm just gonna put this in the announcements section. All right, cool. So you guys should have that link in the announcement section then.
I got it.
Sick. Sick. All right.
I'm back. You sorted out?
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna use Twitch. So I put a link to Twitch in the announcements channel, and then that's working just fine. I usually stream that way anyway.
All right.
Oh shit! How am I not following you yet on here? Well, I am now. Can you make your links downloadable so I can throw them into Ableton here?
Yeah, hold on a second. I'm fucking doubled up here. I'm losing my shit. Alright, I need to leave. Or actually, I need to just mute the Twitch stream. And then. What do I need to do? Oh, go to SoundCloud and make that a downloadable file.
Yeah. Because I like to throw it into Ableton to make some notes.
I can do that.
And Mr. Rhymetry, get yours going over here too. Yeah, could you make yours downloadable as well?
Alright, boom. There you go.
Sick.
I'll be right back.
All right, cool. All right, there we go. Let me close my door so I can hear good. And let's fucking do it. Oh, cool. And I can actually turn off my screen. We're done sharing screen. There we go. So we just got the voices over here now. All right. Let's do it. Can you hear this? That coming through Twitch? Hey, Rymetry, you there? Or Bulu? I don't know if y'all can hear this or not.
I can.
You can? Okay, cool, good. What's up?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I heard an Is it coming through weird or is it fine? Should be fine through Twitch. Yo, okay. I just want to double check. All right, cool. Can you hear this just fine through Twitch?
Turn Twitch sound on.
All right, sick. Let's do it.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, I think
There's a
you.
weird echo.
I'm not getting the echo. I think that you're popping in and out.
Play it again.
Okay, I can hear Ableton through Twitch.
Okay, sick. Yo, sick track, man. This is great. I'm liking the funky vibes. Also, your microphone's off in case you need to be talking. But yeah, pretty awesome. I just got a few comments on it here. The main thing is that it's really, really weighted towards the lows. It's just like, you know, I mean, I was suspecting that would be the case because I was looking at it and coming through here. I'm like, I bet this sub's going to come in like slapping compared to everything else. And it did. If I look at span here, let's just go ahead. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at span and I'm looking at this spectrum and I'm looking at this spectrum. Like all three of these together are giving me the information I need. So do you see how your sub is peaking up above like -6 here?
Mm-hmm.
That's really loud for a sub. That's like what you're gonna get on like extreme like dubstep and like super heavy bass tunes, like EPROM, where he just like will slap you in the face with sub and shit like that, you know? For something like this, I don't think the fundamental of the sub needs to be quite as loud. And I know you want that sub in there for sure. But I think it's a matter of an overall rebalancing, lower the subs and bring the tops up with like a tilt EQ, which we can kind of just make with an EQ8 here. Just
like a tilt EQ on the whole track?
I mean, I wouldn't do it that way, you know? I would definitely just rebalance it, but like the effect you'd be going for is what a tilt EQ would do, right? Where you're basically just going to kind of like have anything that's got high material brought up and anything that's got low material brought down a bit like that. Let me just get that so it's like that. There we go. So a shift that's a little more in looking like this, where it's got some kind of like, you know, you're going to be able to bring the highs up and bring the lows down, and the track will sound a little bit more like this. I'll get it tweaked. Like that bass is plenty heavy for what else you got going on here, you know? And I brought it down by a good 6 decibels probably. Yeah, it looks like it's at 6 decibels down here. So I'll just do a little before and after on it with this crazy EQ here. So before.
Oh wait, hold on. I need to be listening somewhere else. Where am I supposed to be listening? I need to be listening on.
Oh, you're on Twitch. Yeah.
I muted Twitch because it was giving me this echo. There we go.
All right, cool. Oh, here. Oh, I'm going through Twitch, so I don't need to be doing this anymore. Actually, hey, so just so I can, I mean, I can hear you, maybe, I think it was, there you go. I think it was echoing because I had my mic on over here, too. There you go. I think it was echoing because I had my mic on over here, too.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There you go. I think it was echoing.
Oh, I'm hearing a lot of echo, actually. So I'm just going to disconnect from here and just go through, Twitch. There we go, because you'll still be able to hear me on Twitch. Oh, cool. All right, cool. Good. I'm seeing messages over here right now. All right, sick. So where's going on with this track feedback here? So yeah, basically I just rebalanced the highs to the lows a little bit. So here it was before and after. Now, when I did that, it brought the snare out a little bit too much. Like there was just too, I think the snare's a little boxy now with this EQ, but I wouldn't do it this way anyway. I would just independently bring your subs down and then bring some of the tops up and try and even that out a little bit. And even if you don't want to bring the tops up and you just bring the subs down, that could probably work too. But now the sub at these levels, it doesn't feel like it's an overwhelming presence to me, generally. So that's all I gotta say about that part of the sub. I do think we could do a little bit more of a transition in here. The way the sub comes in, it's kind of a bit sudden. I feel like you do have a little bit of this like coming in there, like some of the noise in the background, but a little more I think would probably be helpful. Yeah. You might want to try now. Okay, this is an optional thing. So I wrote sub harmonics in here. Your sub is very, very clean, which this is a clean track, right? Like this is like kind of a funky, clean thing going on here. So you don't want like the craziest, dirtiest bass in the world, but you might want to explore emphasizing the harmonics of the bass just a little bit more, because if I were to listen to this through my speakers or through my phone or whatever, then most of the sub might get lost. Especially given the fact that this is in what, D or D sharp. Like that's a really low key. It's kind of like the bottom end of a good response for sub bass. So I definitely say, try exploring adding some third harmonics in the sub, either through distortion or just, getting an operator. I'll do this a lot too, where I'll grab an operator and I'll just see where are we in D? Yeah, it looks like it's in D. So I'll grab an operator and I'll add harmonics in like this, where I'll just set this to like the third harmonic down here in the coarse tuning, and then mix that in with the sub. Of course, it's got to be like not the highest tone in the world. Bring it down a couple octaves. There we go, something like that. So now I just have this tone right here that I can bring up that might actually fill in this range right here for you a little bit. See if I turn this off. It's subtle, but it adds this like low end rumble to the entire track that sort of fills in a gap and is definitely going to make it a bit more audible on small systems. Yeah, see, that's that right there. That's what I'm adding in. Oh, it's nice. And it seems like your kick, and I don't know if you intended this or not, but your kick is hitting right there on the perfect fifth of the track. So that's really nice, because that means that this harmonic that you're playing is happening right where the kick is happening too. And they're going to feel like they're tuned together. So that's great, actually. I would definitely recommend doing something like this. I think it sounds really good. All right, moving on. Yeah, just generally moments like this where it kind of like pulls back. I feel like you could have more sweeps down or something. Yeah, like right? Like let the air out a little bit somehow. Bring a nice like, gentle sub dive, or like I really like to use these sweep down. The kind of sound like this. Something like that would be cool. Or if you want to grab an operator and make one yourself, it's very easy to do that. All you have to do, put a note down, set your operator to noise white with a bandpass filter, I like to do a high resonant. Maybe not that high. And then I'll automate the filter frequency down over time. And then usually I add like a ping pong delay to it or something. Or I don't know if you have cluster delay, but I put cluster delay on these kind of things, and it's just like an instant awesome. I don't know. I just love it. It works really well. But let's use a regular delay right now. I don't even change the settings on cluster delay. I just put it in default mode for these risers and sweeps, and it's pretty dope. But like a ping pong with a decent feedback, and then maybe some reverb on it. And then this will be a really cool, like, airy sweep downwards. That's super loud that I gotta turn down. You know, if you want to sound less spacey, turn the resonance down and soften it up. I usually grab an EQ, and I usually cut out the lows and maybe the highs too, if I don't want so much of that high stuff. So I just want it to come in just in this little middle area. You know, just something to kind of let the air out, I think would be pretty nice right around this section. Cluster, dude, yeah, cluster is super nice to have. Okay, your snare tops in general, I think could be a little bit brighter, a little more sparkly. It's just, I feel like, here's your snare right here. There's some low, I don't know if those are lows in your snare or if that's just the end of your sub. It might just be, actually, I think it's probably just the end of your sub tailing over. Yeah, here's a good spot where it's mostly just your snare and your sub. I think you could really just raise perhaps around this area, the like 200, 300, 400 hertz range in your snare a bit. Maybe even a little up here in the air area. Do you feel how that makes it a little more sparkly and a bit less dead, right? So like if I turn this off, I turn it back on, it brings your snare to the forefront just a little bit more. I didn't really even have to do very much here at all. It's just I usually find that when things are feeling a bit dull, it's because there's not enough in this area right here, which is that area you got to watch out for, because if it's too bright, then you know it can be a little brutal on the ears. But if there's not enough of it, things can sound dull and muted. I mean, compositionally, I think this is great. You know what I mean? Transitions to and from could use a little work, but I feel like the rest of it's mixed pretty well. It all sounds like it's nice and balanced together. So, good work on this track. It's sick. Oh, it might be coming through my microphone accidentally. I'll try and turn my mic down a little bit, as long as my voice is still audible. All right, cool. Rhymetry is next here. Let's get this going. That. All right. They living in an RV, dude. Nice. Yeah, I feel like it's. I mean, for a while I could only mix. I could only mix on headphones for a long time, actually. You know, you can get there with it for sure, but it's not as easy. Definitely not as easy. I should change the date here. June 9 track feedback. Done. There we go. All right. Cool. Rhymetry, you were saying this is for you got a festival coming up here, right? You gave me a little bit of info on what we wanted to talk about with this. Let me check it out here. Playing main stage at Friends Festival in August. That's dope. Main concern is making sure it slaps in the big system. Low end well dialed in. Basses sound defined. High def and big. Dope. Cool. What's the festival you're playing, by the way? Balance. Sick. All right. Cool. Let me go ahead and take a listen. And just in case there's like... Well, actually, this is all streaming through OBS, so there shouldn't be any kind of like issues with the mic because I have compressors set up on this thing. So I think we should be okay. Let's take a listen. It's so short. I wanted more. Wait. What's not right? Uh-oh. Well, shit. If you can bounce another one real quick. Because I think you two are the only ones that threw anything in here. So if you have the ability to quickly bounce another version, I'm happy to throw it in here. Up to ya. But it's a cool track. I think that my my biggest complaints with this track don't have... Okay, cool. All right. I'll wait a second while you are while you're getting that bounced. I can probably give you a little feedback on the low end while you're doing that, though. Yeah, as long as you're able to listen. Just let me know. Man, I made an iced coffee this morning. My wife, I usually make hot coffee every day, but my wife makes iced coffee every day, and it always looks so good, and I can never make it as good as she does. It's like okay at best. Yeah, I think there should be a little bit more of a sweep into the first drop as well. Yeah, so both of them. And it doesn't have to be anything huge. I mean, just like a little bit more. You've already got some noise going on in there that's kind of creating a bit of a transition. It just isn't doing very much. I mean, I don't think you need like a big build or drop or anything. That would be totally inappropriate for the song. But just even a reversed crash or something just goes like, you know, and kind of pulls you into that first little section would be nice. All right, cool. So, yeah, Rhymetry, low end's the main concern. I wanted to do a few other tests on the lows, because I didn't think the lows were too bad, except that the sub fundamentals seemed a bit loud. All right, so check this out. Your track. I just put on this Avocet sideband solo thing, which is a Seth Drake tool that I use religiously for all my mixes. And what it basically does, in case, you know, in short, what it allows me to do is listen to the sideband image and show the sideband image in the spectrum here. So basically, it's the stereo width of your track. And your stereo width has a little bit of a problematic shape. Typically for this, you kind of want to see, like on Ableton Spectrum, you want to generally see a fairly flat response with the top end rolling off a little bit, which you do have. I feel like it may roll off a little more, but it's okay. Weird. It didn't sound bad to me, by the way. Nothing sounded out of key or anything to me. Okay, cool. You gotta have a sit. Dope. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just coming through Twitch weird because it sounded totally fine on my end. From like, you know, keys or automation or whatever going on. It all made sense, at least. All right, cool. So you understand Avocet. That's good. My recommendation, do you have Ozone Imager? This little one right here? Or do you have like the free version of it, which is this one? These are some of my like favorite tools. I'm gonna go ahead and use like, I'll use the real one for right now. But if you don't have like the paid version of it, then I can show you how to do what I'm gonna do with the Imager as well. But my recommendation here is basically to widen your lows a little bit. It sounds like the melodies are all bending. Oh, okay. It didn't sound like that to me. It sounded okay. So I think it might just be a connection issue. But yeah, so like I would say there's a couple things need to happen here. I want this really nice flat response in the stereo image. And instead what I'm getting is a bulking of the width in the... Okay, cool. It'll work the same way then. Awesome. Oh, you have the free one? All right, cool. We'll use the free one then. So I'm getting this bulking of wide in the lower mids, and then everything beneath that is totally mono. Now that's okay, right? It's fine for stuff to be totally mono in the bass, but I find that it's going to make your track a little bit more inflated if you have a little bit of stereo width down there. I'm talking like a small amount. So for this kind of a thing, I would go, you know, right now, like I'm putting it on a full stereo mix down of a track, but I would go and put this Ozone Imager on your sub channel independently. So I'm just going to use this linear phase. I'll use this linear phase frequency splitter so that way it doesn't like change the sound of your track because of the phasing. And I'm just going to drag this onto the lows. And this is basically just everything beneath, what is that? About 110 hertz, all right? And I'm just going to add a little bit of width to lows here. Man, it still seems very wide. Oh, because I'm not putting it, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Got to put it after the split, otherwise it does not work at all. Turn stereo-wise on. And then here's how I do it. First, I crank the width all the way up. And this is just so I can get this thing centered. So it's kind of leaning off to the side right now. But if I turn the width, or if I turn the timing offset up, you can get it so it's in the middle. Right about there-ish. Yeah, that's like a nice fat like heart shape there. Okay, so now I know it's centered, right? I just don't want it feeling like it's weighted off to the left or the right side, basically. And now I can turn the width way back down. And to do that, I mean, because I have a mono sub in my studio, so I can't even really hear the width. But to do that, to balance that, I keep Avocet sideband turned on, and then I pull the width back until it's in line with the rest of the stuff in here. And I mean, like, I don't use this as a rule, but I do find it usually ends up being between 5 to 7%, right? So that level right there is like, I mean, it's such a small amount of width, but it's just enough to make the track feel a little bit like bigger and fatter and juicier. I would also probably come in here and, crap, I got to use a 3-band one now. I should have put this on a 3-band one. Lin, phase, 3-band. I will, actually. So, same deal. It's a linear phase one, just 3 bands. And I'm going to put this on the subs. Get rid of this one. Because I want to deal with your lower mids as well. All of that stuff. And even more like... all of that's just too wide, I think. Couple different ways you can go about this. You can use Imager if you want. I think an EQ is probably a better move here. And again, I would do this on each independent channel rather than the entire master. So go to EQ, mid-side mode, sideband edit, and then just pull it down here a bit. Trying to get it in line with the rest of it, because I've analyzed enough tracks that sound really good to know that if the stereo image is flat across the spectrum, it's going to be a good stereo image. And there is, of course, artistic, license with that. These aren't rules, these are just guidelines. That's pretty good. I mean, you still want some width down there, right? I usually prefer to have the width, like it is right now, seemingly kind of like centralized around those lower mids. But that would probably be pretty good right there. So I'd say any of your basses or anything that has that lower mid width, go ahead and put an EQ and just kind of like cut a little bit of the sides there. On the lows, you want to expand the sides, and that's going to give you this overall much like thicker, like fatter, more stereo balanced track. And because you're cutting some of the sides here, you may be able to even push it a little bit louder. So yeah, that's what I gotta say about that. It's gonna make your subs sound nice and juicy. Let's go ahead and turn the Avocet sideband off, and also we'll turn this off as well. I think your sub fundamental is a bit loud. Oh, you have a mid-side split set up in the bass channel already. Yeah, totally. That's exactly what you can do. Right now, there's 6 decibels less than the mids. That's cool. Yeah. And if you already got that set up there, then you can maybe just even add just an EQ on it or something like that, right? That would be kind of nice. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and the sub fundamental, a little loud, I think. Like, yeah, I just think you can probably like, I control my subs with multiband dynamics, and I pretty much just pull this down so it's rather aggressive limiting or compression, and then I just kind of pin it in place. And if it's too quiet at that point, which it definitely is, right? Then I take the output gain up by 3 or 4, however many I need. Well, that brings it back to right where it was. Probably just 2 then. Yeah, I don't have a problem workflow for Imager. Dude, yeah, Imager's awesome. I freaking love it. I've been using it for years now for everything. I've tried other stereo imaging things, and I always go back to Imager. It's just so easy and good. But yeah, so I was gonna say I don't have a problem with subs being up higher than -6 at all. But I don't think I think it highly is highly dependent on the track and the composition, and also how consistent your subs are. I think that your sub is very consistent in this track, and therefore to have one that's just like pumping super loud all the time, it makes it a little bit too dominant over the rest of the track. Uh, Word. Okay, cool. Overcompensated potentially. Yeah. That's understandable. Feel like the best case for this is going to a car, right? Like go to your car and listen. I always hear sub issues in my car, and top end issues too. And actually, I go to my car to listen to my music when I want to hate myself, for usually. So, the other thing I just noticed is your snare is like super wide. I don't know if I could hear it before. I just wasn't paying attention. Yeah, so your snare is super wide, but it's like only wide. I don't really hear as much of it in the mid-band image. Like if I were to actually do the opposite of what Avocet does and take all the sides out, I'm kind of curious to see like how much of your snare I could hear. Probably some. Yeah, it's definitely there. It's just super weighted towards the sides. And usually you kind of want your snare to have like a good strong center image, right? You can definitely have the width in there. It just needs to be balanced with the it just needs to be balanced with the mids. So your kick transient is too much. Kick transient is a little out of control here. I mean, I think so, right? This is a creative choice. I've been using much softer kicks for a while now, like thumpier kicks. I'm just hearing a lot more of this, like a lot of the 140 stuff, and honestly, genres like this one that you're making here often will use a kick that's got a little less crack in the front end and a little more thump to it. So it would be a little bit softer than this kick would. Because right now your transient is sticking out over the rest of the mix. And you could definitely pull that back either with a transient shaper or with just, straight up cutting this little chunk of it off like that to soften it up. Yeah, like honestly, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that for a couple of these kicks so you can hear what I'm talking about. I'm really just chopping like the hard gritty part on the front of it off. So these two kicks are going to be a little bit less transient, and these ones are going to be a little harder. See the difference here. You hear how when this one happens, the kick just jumps out of the mix, right? But on these ones, they're really nicely situated within it. So I'd recommend maybe just shaving a few milliseconds off the front. All I was really doing was cutting like this part of it, which is about 2 milliseconds. It's like 2 milliseconds. Well, hey, you're here for me to be nitpicky, so. But yeah, a little bit of that crunch and grit is going to situate your kick nicely back into the mix again, I think. Okay, hats, metals, the top end stuff, you can bring those out a little more. They're kind of mixed quiet. I've been really enjoying a nice strong right, like stuff that's got some prominence, some groove to it. I used to like mix those things pretty quiet, but again, most of my comments come from just me listening to a bunch of stuff and noticing what they're doing, and people doing the 140 left field type thing are doing a little bit more of like the, you know, louder, more in your face kind of percussion at the top end. So you take the width down of the snare. I would, or add a more centered fundamental to it. Try both, right? Like, I'm not entirely sure which one you should do. And that would be one of those things where I try it. You can take the width down, or and then that would inherently center it, or you can leave it as is and add a centered fundamental. So, you know, I'd say like whatever you think sounds best. Your snare's loud enough, you know. It's not like, I mean, so I'm wondering if you add something into the center, if it'll make it too loud. That's just a rebalancing thing at that point. Dude, these sounds are great, by the way. I love all this crunchy, weird. I love that stuff. That's awesome. And EQ takes on the tops of the cake. Dude, honestly, EQing the transients off the kicks has never worked for me very well. I always just got to go in there and just cut a little bit of that transient off. And if you still want like a nice crack and the pop on the front of it, then what you should do is just do that and cut it so the waveform starts off of 0. And that's going to create a pop, like, you know, an inherent audio pop, right? I learned this from watching something that Ellie Derp was doing. I don't know if you ever listened to him, but he's a amazing producer who's also, I think, like, I don't know, 12. No, I think he's like 18 now or something, but he's just one of those dudes who's incredible at a very young age. And he's like, oh yeah, I like to get a nice snap of my kicks by just like cutting them off the 0 axis, and then it makes a little pop in the audio. And it works pretty well, actually. So yeah, try both. Great answer. Yeah, so I'm saying try it and see. Okay, I didn't make a comment on this one, so this is the last thing I have to say about this right now. Your transients are really wide here. Let's take a listen to this again, and listen to the sideband, and listen to like the sharpness of the transients in the sides here. That gets super distracting. You gotta watch for sharp, loud transients that are very wide, extremely wide. Yeah, intentional DC offset. Yeah, Ellie Derp's insane, dude. I love his music. He's such a good producer. But yeah, let's take a listen to this with the old Avocet turned on here. As I listen to this, I would argue the most prominent thing I'm hearing are those transients. Now I hear the other sounds too, yeah, da 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 da, all the other stuff too. But the things that grab my attention the most are the percussion, the drums, the width that's happening from that as well. I'm always really careful about wide sounds that are sharp on the front edge, because a wide sound is already attention grabbing, but having a sharp transient that's super wide is like doubly so. So you can basically get one of your, you know, this is for anyone else that's watching the stream or the recording after or whatever, because I know you have mid-side splitters already, but you can make a mid-side splitter just by getting a utility, setting the knob to mid-side mode, and I'm going to turn this all the way to the side. I'm going to Command G to group it. I'm going to duplicate that chain, and I'm going to turn this second one to mid. So this is my mid channel. This is my side channel right here. And on the sideband, I would put something like, you know, it's free, so I'm just going to use it. The Kilohertz Transient Shaper is my favorite transient shaper. I like it. Very useful. Got a speed knob, which is dope. But yeah, so I would put a Kilohertz Transient Shaper on the sideband and then pull down the attack, but just for the sides. And that's helping. I mean, it's going to be a lot more useful when you put it directly on that percussion track as opposed to the entire mixdown, because I don't think it's catching them all right now. But I definitely did hear it darken those transients up a little bit. or I guess I should say soften them up rather than darken. It did soften them up a little bit, which is nice. So transient shaper on the sides to pull those back. That's basically all I got to say about this. Do you got any other questions? Anything about it? Pretty dope track. Pretty dope track. And I'm going to check and see if anyone else threw anything here. Word. Looks like it's just y'all. But yeah, this was fun. Thanks you guys for throwing some tunes. Oh my goodness, it's Kevin. What's going on, dude? Dude, I'm just kind of wrapping up a little track feedback here. But if you got something you want to throw in, go for it. Yeah, hell yeah. Just send me a downloadable link to it. And let me get rid of all of these. Delete, 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 delete. Dope. That's awesome. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. Yeah, thanks to both of you guys. All right. P-Foot Beat. 1 second. Let me get this thing downloaded. P-Foot Beat, don't lie. Sick. Oh, look, it's already at 142. Dude, yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. I still don't know quite what I want to talk about at the Applecross workshop, but I've been thinking about it, and I'm stoked about that. That's going to be fun. Yeah, I kind of want to. I don't know if I want to like do like a full on topic about like, you know, like, oh, this is about this thing, or if I want to like, you know, like gently plan something, but then like leave it open for you know, to kind of go anywhere. I'll probably come in with some concepts and then kind of like, you know, try and get a little free form with it. I think that it's nice when people can like ask questions and you know, make it be whatever it wants to be. So I like that. I'll run it like I run my office hours at Icon. Very free form. What do you want to talk about today? All right, let's check out this track. The old K-Fish, P-Foot Beat, don't lie. Oh, by the way, Kevin, I know, I'm sorry, I interrupted it, but I was going to say, I played a show last night, and right up until the end, I was trying to get one of your tunes in there, and I was like, oh, I could put this tune of Kevin's in, or I could put this tune of Kevin's in, and then like the problem is every time I did that, it cornered me for the rest of it. I couldn't find a way out, so I had to get rid of the entire last half of it, including one of your tracks too. But I feel like I always, like every set I put together always has at some point a K-Fish tune in it. They work so well. So super sick. Wish I could have next time. Dude, I had the same problem with my tracks too. I couldn't get any of my tracks in. I went from like 90 to 130 BPM, and I don't write anything in that range. Just like, I guess as I'm not playing none of my music. So Fish coming in with the heat. Coming in with the heat. The snare around that third note. Oh, 1, 2. You mean right around here? This note? Oh. Yeah, I would agree. I feel like you have a really lovely dubstep snare in there, but it ain't really like a dubstep sort of tune. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like you need something that's a little more like tight and cracky for that snare there. Yeah, yeah. 100% totally agree with that right there. I feel like this snare, maybe it's just not the right snare, you know? You need more of like a thunk or a thwink or a crack, like a rim shot or a clap or a weird ass EEPROM type snare, right? Thunk. Something like small and centered and focused would be sick. Thunk snare. Yeah. Okay, cool. So intro, all right. I just think you could use some lows. I feel like it's a good idea to have lows in your intro somewhere. This is one of those things that I've been doing for a while, but the more I do it and the more I see other producers work, the more I believe in it. I just really think that, you know, a sub dive or something in the beginning, like boom, or a sub fading in underneath that, just something to give it a little bit of floor in the intro will be really helpful. Especially going into a section like this, where it just feels huge compared to what came before it. Speaking of, when I wrote the drums are kind of splashy, I meant splashy. They're a little splashy, and I didn't know a good, better word to say it right here. I just feel like this break, this build, it's got this like lack of tightness quality to it that I feel like could be more appropriate as you evolve. Excuse me. Could be more appropriate as you evolve. But early on, it feels like it's too much too soon. I feel like you can tighten this up, tone it back, pull it all back in. And then over time, when I wrote the drums don't really evolve here, I mean, let's listen to it here. And then here. It feels like the same word. The track assembly. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll peep it. Awesome. Thanks for dropping by. Good to hang with you. But yeah, okay, cool. So I think that the drums are a little bright, you know, early on. They definitely do brighten up more later and they get a little bigger, but I feel like you could have a more dramatic change right there. So tighten them up, pull back the highs, make them evolve. This section right here confused me, but I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that in a way where I can see the promise of this section. I feel like it's gonna be really dope. It just doesn't have, it needs a little more definition to what you're trying to do with it. Like, I expected the drop right here, right? And I know that you're tricking us with this. And that's good. I was tricked. But I feel like if you're gonna pull a trick, it's gotta be a really good one. And just sort of like this just kind of blends into this in a way. I'm just like, oh, it just kind of feels like a weird extension, like an extremely long 5-bar turnaround or something like that. You know what I mean? Or like a 5-bar pre-drop or something like that. So I like the trick. I like the idea. I think that the execution needs to be a little bit more defined on it.
Get up and don't lie.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where, I mean, these kind of things where you're breaking arrangement structure. Yeah, exactly, right? It's like, it's got to be a good prank. But these moments where you break arrangement structure, especially at moments of defined expectation, like the end of a build, right? You have to be so good about making sure that it is so good. Otherwise, it feels awkward, right? Everyone's going to be like out in the audience. Oh shit, the drop didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like I know I would probably be like, oh, I'm ready for the drop, and it just didn't happen. So I feel like you can break arrangement structure easily within phrases, but like at these moments where you've set an expectation and you don't deliver that expectation, like the end of a build, it's gotta be so tight. You know, it's gotta be just like so locked in on what you're gonna do with that trick. Which is why I almost never do them, because it's so hard to execute. But I wish I could. And I really liked what you did. I liked the extension on it. Just play around with it and see what you can do to make it a little bit more like, I don't know. I don't want to say obvious, but a little bit more sensical, I guess, as opposed to nonsensical. Is sensical a word? I mean, nonsensical is. I don't know if sensical is, though. Makes sense. Doesn't make sense. Sensical, nonsensical. Anyway, all right, cool. Let's keep going. Oh, dude, sick bass. Sick bass, sick bass. The top end's really wide, though, I think, on it. I was hearing a lot of it, especially out of my right speaker, but maybe I'm kind of leaning over towards it a little bit. Let me sit in the middle. No, it feels like it's weighted towards the top right. And you know what? Oh, fuck. I had a transient shaper on this thing the whole time, dude. My bad. I was slightly transient shaping your sideband content the whole time. Possibly reflecting your own hearing damage. Oh, the top end off to the side? Yeah, maybe. It's just that one bass, and that kind of thing happens when you're doing really spread top end. If we look at Avocet, I mean, let's say. You can probably narrow that synth a little bit. It's really wide. Sideband compression on that, by the way. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't just like EQ it down. I would sideband compress it. So let's do like a 3-band linear phase thing. I know I was just doing this on the other track, but let's check it out. So all of this stuff in the middle here is just really quite wide. So if I get a Pro C2, which I'm going to use this because I know that you have it. I know that you use it. But if you don't, you can just make one. You can make a sideband thing using the rack that I made earlier right here, where you just do like that, and then compress just the sideband content. But we have Pro C2, which allows you to compress just the sideband, open up the side chain, go down to stereo link, click where it says mid, set it to side, and drag this all the way over 100% side only. So now it is, yo, what's going on? Just doing some little track feedback over here. So now we're just compressing the only the sideband content. So as I play this with the Avocet sideband turned on, we're probably going to see your sides of that sound get pushed down a bit. There we go. I mean, that harmonic's pretty strong there, but we are just controlling the sides pretty aggressively. Could even turn the ratio up more. Yo, what's going on? Coda Art, long days. How you doing? I am doing good. Just talking some sideband compression. Anyway, from Argentina. Dang. Welcome. But yeah, anyway, let me know. Yeah, if you got one, throw it in. I'll give you some feedback on it. Just send me a downloadable link to it. Let's see here. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, sideband compression on your synth, right? I would probably do it on the synth itself rather than do it on the main mix like this. Let me turn that off and go back to your top end width of your sub. Dude, I'm not saying get this. You can just drop it in the chat. that's fine. Or if you want to go to my Discord, then you can toss it into the Discord as well. Let me get you a link real quick. All right, here you go. Link to the Discord's right there. But yeah, so like, Kevin, do you use any of the Leapwing audio plugins? Stage 1. They're like a little bit prohibitively expensive, but I finally decided to get it one time. My Ableton just froze. Uh-oh. Oh no. Welcome, John Neby. You've come just in time to watch my Ableton freaking crash. Oh, it's Johnny? What's up, Johnny? Good to see you. It was good seeing you last night, man. All right, cool. It didn't crash. But anyway,
Get up and don't lie. Roll back up. Know what to apply.
can't really see it, but Kevin, if you have stage 1, put this on your bass and you'll see that the top end is kind of leaning off towards the right. And dude, this plugin is so good for this kind of thing, where you can just drag the center of gravity off to the left, and it'll just like move. It'll make all of these sounds that, like, you know, when I'm doing really spread, like wide things on my synth, they oftentimes like feel weighted to the left or the right or whatever. But like, I can just recenter the different bands in here. It's so good. Like, I mean, I'm not saying you have to buy plugins, but like, if you are gonna save some money to buy one, for a mixing thing, it's fucking sick. I love it. All right, cool. What else we got? All right, Johnny, I got yours in there too. Top end width. Yeah, this synth right here feels kind of loud. You know, it feels like you can just pull that back. Maybe by, I don't know, if I try like 5 or 6 or 7 decibels. But dude, that's all I got. Awesome, cool. Coda, I got you in there. I'll get that track downloaded too. Yeah, Kevin, any other things that I didn't hit on that you want me to check out? This thing feels very close to being finished. It's tight. I do, actually. Well, I don't know. I mean, what was the purpose? Does anyone even listen to Second Drops anymore? I would I mean, I feel like it's fine for it to be short. How long is it? It's like, let me see. 2 minutes? Yeah, that's fine. Fuck it. Fuck it. I mean, like, if I was going to put this in a set, you got a good mix out on it. Yeah, it's fine, man. I'm a proponent of the one drop song. Not that I ever make them, but I feel like it's fine to do. So sick. All right. Well, if nothing else, then you're good to go, dude. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah, no problem. Dude, I get to see you in a week. Less than a week. I get to see you in 5 days, man. Right? You're going to be here in 5 days. Oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. That's awesome. I think Yuri's going to come hang out. I think we're going to hang out with Adam at some point, too. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a real good time. All right, Coda, I'm downloading yours right now. Actually, can you make this downloadable? Or just send me a direct download link to this track, please, so that I can throw it in the Abletons. Expectations are high. Yeah, sure. Hello. Yeah. Music at gmail.com. Okay, cool, perfect. There you go. There's my email. And Johnny, I'll get yours downloaded too while I'm waiting. Wait a minute. Do I have to sign in with an Apple ID to download things? Hold Hopefully I can. No, my password's incorrect. Johnny, do you have a different way for me to get this track? I have literally no idea what my Apple ID is, and I have never known it for like a million years now. You'd think I'd learn eventually, but I just have not. Cool. All right, that's sick. I got that. Dun, 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 dun. All right. And Coda, just let me know you're uploading a file. Okay, cool. If you don't mind, actually, just to keep it rolling, I'll 4 to 5. Dude, I'm so sorry that I could not stay. I did my best. I tried. I made it way later than I expected to make it. Honestly, I thought I was gonna be gone by 2. I really wanted to see you play, but dude, I know you told me you were getting tired. I was like, man, you got hours to go still. That was a good time last night. I enjoyed that. It was really fun. Hell yeah, I bet. See, that's the thing is that like I don't necessarily like. I mean, I don't mind rhythm. I think it's fine. But like, I really wanted to hear some of that 140 desert dub. I wanted to hear all that kind of stuff. That would have been so sick. Excuse me. I've been so sick to hear last night. Be a lot of fun. Well, I played first. You played, dude. Yeah, I know. That's why, like, towards the end, I was like, okay. I've heard a lot of whap, 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 whap already. I need to roll. It's fine, Oh, dude, definitely like it better than hardstyle. Yeah. All right, cool. Let me get that downloaded. Tis not come through yet, but I'm going to keep refreshing it until it does. Look at your yeah, I'm looking at my email. Hasn't come through yet. Oh, there it is. Got it. Let me get it downloaded. And let me get rid of all of these tools. All right. Cool. I'm going to make sure it's not doing anything crazy. Oh, long boy. We got a long boy. Holy shit. All right. Please unwarp it. Thank you. And what are we at? Looks like... Alright, that'll be fine. Alright. What's the tempo? Probably about 120. I'd say. 118. Alright, cool. Let's check this out.
these old days. God's gonna wipe away all our tears. We gon' cry no more. One of these old days.
Hey, yo, dude, some funky house out of Argentina from Coda. Dude, good work. This was pretty sick. I don't have a ton of comments. Mix is tight. The sounds are high quality. There's a lot going on here that's really good. One thing that I thought was that this bass, when it comes in here, the mids are really, I think there's like some like down sampling or bit crushing or something on them, and just also how loud they are. they're really crunchy and they're kind of loud coming out of the mix. It's like that bass comes in harder than it needs to be for this part of the track. I feel like later on it's appropriate when it's really rolling and going. Like here it seems fine, but for right here it just feels like I'm kind of being like, dude, I really like the bass too. The bass is really sick. It's super nice and tight. It's just a bit much, I feel like, for this section. You could probably get... You could probably pull a little bit of that stuff down and set it back in the mix a little more. And also, yeah, it's maybe the boxiness that's getting me. There we go. Just a little bit of that kind of thing, right? Like... very, very slight adjustment to like the mids on it. Kind of pushed it back into the mix a little bit better for me. Very nice and tasty bass though. I do like it. It's quite good. All right, what else did I say? Okay, so this is a stylistic thing. And this is the kind of thing that I always think. I feel like the kick transient gets really distracting when you're hearing it so often. Now, I do like generally a softer kick overall. That's just a personal preference, right? But my thing, kind of my little quasi rule of thumb is if I am sitting listening to a music and I'm starting to like focus in on one element as opposed to like the song. I mean, even now when I'm in track feedback, right? I kind of just like sit back and try and allow things to appear to me rather than going necessarily searching for issues. And after a while, the kick transient just sort of jumps out of the mix a little too much. I don't know. It's a stylistic thing, though. I know that. Like, it really slaps pretty nicely. I just think that maybe, you know, like, I mean, look how sharp that transient in your kick is, you know? I feel like you can maybe try rolling it off a teensy bit. Soften up a little bit. That didn't do very much. You know, like, let's try and do that. There we go. See if you can just kind of push it so it's still nice and strong, but... yeah, honestly, that right there makes your kick seem deeper and a little bit less, like, plasticky almost. I don't know, like a really, really tacky, like, you know, I don't mean tacky like stylistically, like in a bad way, like, oh, like that art is tacky. I mean like sticky, tacky, like it's got this like really, really attacky sound to it. Not that that's related in any way. But when I shave off the tiniest bit of the transient, so you still have a good and sharp attack on it, it seems like it makes it thicker and richer to me. Like, it's a very slight difference. See if you can hear it. I don't know if it's coming through on Twitch, but the difference between these two kicks here. One of them is like way in your face, and the other one is still prominent, but just situated back a little bit more. I would recommend trying that. Can you send the bass line from the multi-track? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get that in depth into it. I'm not going to start like, you know, doing multi-track mix downs in the feedback session. If that's what you're asking. But, I mean, you can just do what I did right there and just add a little EQ to it, you know? That would probably do the trick. That would probably do it right there. Oh, yeah, okay, hey, here's another thing, too. I'm looking in Span. Do you use Span, by the way, Coda? Have you ever used this plugin? Okay, cool. I mean, just for anyone else that's watching, the way that I have mine set up here is that I have the green color and then like a kind of orangey red underlay, and that's showing my sideband content. So anything that's red is kind of showing you the stereo width on it. Let me just make sure I have it set up right. Boom. There we go. Okay, cool. Now it is. But yeah, check this out. if I play this, look at, you got like a nice bump in the kind of reddish orangey part on your hats. And at times the red even pops up a little bit over the green. I feel like generally you want to watch the top end width on your tracks. There was for a long time people were taught that the stereo width of your track should be shaped like a triangle, where it's like the bases are mono and the tops are wide. But it's actually not quite that. It's actually that it should be shaped like a Christmas tree. So like the bottom is narrow, the mids are wide, and it slowly comes in towards the top to create like more of a Christmas tree or pine tree or whatever, shape like that. The reason why is because top end air and width can be distracting and very masking. It can mask other sounds in the tops, and it can kind of like almost put tangible limitations to the size and the dimensions of your mix. That's a bit of like a woo-woo, hard to describe thing, but like when you hear it, you hear it. So I would say that perhaps get just an EQ on it right here. Stereo, mid-side, like that. And I would just make sure your EQ is on oversampling mode if you, if you tend to use Ableton. I don't know if you use Ableton or not. But if you use Ableton, make sure it's on oversampling. And then what I do is I just drag the 8 band all the way down to the bottom corner. And that way it'll kind of like tame that top end. You'll see it kind of drop off a little more. Like you still have stereo width for sure. It's definitely still there. It's just not, so prominent, right? Cool. Yeah, I mean, I got to get to Johnny's tune if I have time at the end here, and I got to, go at some point. But if I have time, then I will check out that bass stem. Let me see if I can get through his too. Oh, dude, I love these little, like, these little dropouts you did here. I'm going to turn this off. These little moments are so fun. But I don't feel like you prepped it in quite the right way. I feel like it just feels like it stops. You almost get like a... Right, like you need like a little, more of a drum fill. You need, I don't know, there's kind of drum fill there. Not really, though. I feel like just something to be like... You know what I mean? Like if you watch a drummer, like my dad's a drummer, so I like growing up watching him play and seeing him do stuff. But these little moments where the whole band just pull out for a moment, he always precedes that with like a cymbal swell or something like that. So I feel like you could definitely precede this moment with like, something to kind of prep us for it a little bit. And almost feels like it throws it a little harder into that moment of silence to make more of an impact with that right there. The Supremes. Yeah, dude. Good sampling. Hey, Kevin mentioned, by the way, that he's like, dude, this little section right here could be twice as long, and I 100% agree.
I want to let you know this evening, yeah. I want to let you know that if you could just hold on.
I feel like it can be twice as long. It's super cool. Good moment right there with that Jubilees sample. So pretty cool. You do still have a sidechain pumping here. I know you probably know that, and you probably meant to do that. But it is distracting from the legibility or the intelligibility of the vocals because it's kind of pulling it down where the kick is. But it does keep the groove going more, so
I want to let you know this evening.
Right, you can hear the vocals like pumping down. I'm wondering if you took the vocal out of the sidechain group, let them not be sidechained, but kept the pads pumping underneath. That might allow the vocals to feel like they're sitting on top of the mix more and not being pulled down by that sidechain, but you still get your pad that's like, moving down there. So just something to try out and see if you like the sound of that. I usually don't like to sidechain vocals unless it's like a prominent effect that I'm doing on them. Because it places them on top of the mix where vocals typically should be, they're kind of like the thing you listen to, what else did I say? Oh, yeah, so this little section right here, the bottom just really drops out. You have like, this goes for a long time, nice and good, and then like it, I feel like it just drops out too suddenly. you can let us down with like a gentle sub dive if you want to not have any base in this area right here. You could just have a very low, like, soft reese underneath, or just a sub, but like, really pulled back. Because then it's going to feel a little bit more like you didn't just pull the rug out from underneath us, right? I always think it's a good idea to either let us down gently, right, with a sub dive, or to just put some kind of like, something calm underneath it like that. I think that's the last comment I had. Yeah, dude, sick track, great work, love it, fantastic work. Fantastic work here. Do you have any final questions before I move on to next track? If not, then I will move right along. Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. Happy to do some track feedback. Let's find out. Oh, is it a full project? Oh, buddy, you got me opening up a project. Dang. All right, let's check it out. Let's check it out. If you saved it all and froze it all, it should be good. Guess we'll find out. Looks like there are some missing things, but maybe they're not important. Let's find out. What media files are missing? So many of them. All of them. I don't think you collect all and saved this track. Did you learn nothing at Icon? Yeah, I think you need to bounce me about. It's rule number 1. That's rule number 1. Collect all and save. So yeah, I think just bounce me a file on this one. Yeah, for sure, dude. Thanks for hanging for a while. It was really good to hear what you're working on. Hope I get to hang out, like, in person sometime. Are you doing any other festivals this summer? I don't know why I thought I might be able to find like an audio file that's very specific to yours. But hey, I'm going to search. I'm assuming these JBs are ones you made yourself, perhaps? Ataya. Ryder Shafiq. New style. Work on this flip, or kind of finished up this flip of this Ataya and Ryder Shafiq tune. Long record your field recorder. Oh, cool. Oh, man, dude, I went camping last week, and there were so many good frogs and crickets and all these other things, and I was like, I'm going to bring my field recorder along, and then I decided not to. I just, like, I always bring it along and never use it. And I definitely would have used it this time. I can't believe I didn't bring it along. But I recorded them on my phone, and I already worked them into a tune that I started on my Patreon. Which, by the way, anyone in this chat that does not know that I have a Patreon where I put a bunch of tutorials and things. I'm going to put a link to it right here. Boom. There we go. So there's my Patreon. I do tutorials. I put up a ton of sample packs and stuff. Dude, I just went to Vegas for the first time on that camping trip because we went out to Zion and we drove through Vegas, and I'd never been to Nevada or Vegas. I've been to most of the states. I've been to like 43 states, 44 states at this point. One of them somehow was not Nevada. But yeah, dude, I loved it. It was cool. I feel like they haven't rolled out their Phase 2 announcement yet, so yeah, you'll probably be on that Phase 2 one. I'm playing probably at least 2 shows there and giving a production talk at it, which I'm pretty stoked about. So that'll be fun. Should make videos on modular synths. Dude, what I should do is just find you my entire... I should just find you the online course that I filmed and never released about modular synths back in 2019. Wait, did you send me this thing? I clicked it, I just never downloaded it. We downloaded it, there we go. I filmed a whole modular synth course and I never released it. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. Release the modular Kraken. If I can find those videos again, then I will. This is at 140? Looks like it is. Or maybe not, actually. Oh, it is? Alright, dope. Alright, cool. Let's... see? Look at that. I was like, bro's got his snares on the 2s. What's he doing? Alright, let's check this out.
20,000 pounds of weed, I'm comfy, come and fuck with me. Pull up like a deity, I'm drinking liquid LSD, come follow me. I can show you how the truth can supersede everything you once believed in. Maybe it can set you free. Good energy is all I need. Let's take a second just to breathe unapologetically. All I'm gonna be is me. Gold is what I fucking bleed from a different pedigree. In the sky, diamonds high as fuck, chillin' with Lucy.
Sick. Dude, this is awesome, man. This is so... Yeah, I really, really like this. I like the combination of these, I don't know, sort of like almost R&B-ish style vocals that I don't really hear in this style that often. Usually it's always like, yo, listen, you hear that? Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? It's usually that like, super sick. I really love it. Like that UK kind of like garage style, like vocals. But like to have the other stuff in there, it's very Ivy Labby of you in a way. It's so very good work on that. A few things I got here. The snare's a little dry. I feel like you could just, you know, wet that snare up a touch. Like if I just go ahead and automate just a touch of it up like that, so that it goes to the it goes to my like long reverb here. Copy that around. You know, that might be kind of nice. You know, I mean, like, you can, it's not like a lot, right? I'm not doing a ton. Just a little bit to create more of the ambiance at the beginning. And it wouldn't hurt for you to shave off the front edge of this snare too, to put it a little back. I mean, I feel like I've been talking about like transients all day, but they're really important. I mean, it's one of those things that I find hard to figure out and very important. But if you shave a little bit of the front end off of these two, you're giving yourself a little room to grow with the energy. that was too much, but you know. I mean, somewhere around here, somewhere between this one and this one, right? Just like a little bit more off the top end. A little off the top, you know? You know, look for moments like this in your track. But I know this is like, you know, still work in progress. But like moments like this where you have some extreme sub thing happening that you probably don't want happening. It's just something in here is causing the track to go like DC offset or something like that. So just keep your eye out in the waveform. That'd be DC offset, right? I mean, it might not necessarily be. I mean, DC offset is really just like very, very, very low frequency waveforms. This might be audible. Nah, it's pretty much. You could probably like put a DC offset filter on that and take care of it. Something in there is doing that. So, dude, I don't know why I've suddenly developed a cough. Probably because I spent all last night yelling in a smoky room. Dude, I can't believe people were smoking inside. That's insane. Insane. Anyway, the vocals are a little bit boxy. All right. So you're asking about how to get the vocals.
20,000 pounds of weed. I'm comfy. Come and fuck with me.
They feel close to the mic. They don't feel like it feels like the rest of the track has a space that it exists within, but the vocals feel like they're right up here on the mic and there's no space in there at all. I don't actually know how that came through when I did that, but like hopefully it gave the impression of there being no room, right? Like there's just like everything's really, really close. Whatever you can do. Yeah, okay, cool, good. Yeah, whatever you can do to pull that back from the mic a little bit. And that would be through the use of
20,000 pounds of weed.
It's going to be a lot of the boxy range here.
20,000 pounds of weed. I'm comfy. Come and fuck with me.
This area right here on these vocals, they're a little low. So you're talking around 400 hertz, right? Which is kind of in that area. That 400, 500 is pretty boxy.
20,000 pounds of weed. I'm comfy. Come and fuck with me.
If I take just a touch out there.
20,000 pounds of weed. I'm comfy.
Don't want to like thin them up too much though.
20,000 pounds of weed. I'm comfy. Come and fuck with me. Pull up like it. 20,000 pounds of weed. I'm comfy.
Yeah, I can't get at it, you know, the way it's set up right now. But I think that just perhaps a little bit of like processing, they feel a little under processed. They don't sound bad by any means, you know, but I think that they are okay. Cool, yeah. So it's that range I'm hearing. It just feels a little bit, you know, too close and just too like when it kind of feels like someone's right up on the mic. That's kind of what boxiness is, right? If you hear people talk about boxiness, to me, that's what that is. So, yeah, play around with that a little bit. It's not going to take much because they sound good, right? You just got to peel it back from the front of the mix a little better. All right, let's see. Your bass here.
Energy is all I need. Let's take a second just to...
You've got like a really strong second harmonic going on.
Energy is all I need.
Right here. So E, this is an E. So here's your E. Here's a second E. You did Melodyne, parallel compression, EQ, saturation on the vocals. Yeah, so you know what? Now what you gotta do? Now what you gotta do on the vocals. All right, I'll come back to the bass in a moment here. Get the fuck out of here, Spectrum. There we go. All right. So now on the vocals, what I would do is I would get a stack of effects, 100%. Group it up, open the chain, make a new one like this. Let's go and call this one dry. So here's your dry audio pass through. Dial in your reverb till it sounds good. Pull it all the way down and then feed it in until you're hearing it at whatever level you want to hear it at. You know, usually a little bit. Then you get like a chorus. Do the same thing with the chorus. Add that in here, 100%. Right? Get some delays, get a whole bunch of like, you know, stack some effects up in here and run them all in parallel. Then add some more saturation, EQ, compression, whatever you need in the other end to squish all these things together. This is what's going to help it peel away from the front of the mic. This is what's going to help it give a little room and space. Aight? So try that for the vocals. And there's no prescription here. This is basically just playing around until you think it sounds good. The only prescription would be running in parallel. Yeah. Okay, back to this bass though. Your bass is nice and thick.
Energy is all I need.
Not quite as loud as it needs to be though.
Energy is all I need. Let's take a second.
It needs to be louder. but I worry that you won't be able to get it too much louder without distortion. I already kind of hear it pushing against the vocals.
Energy is all I need. Let's take a second just to breathe. Unapologetic.
And if I were to come in here with an EQ, try and pump up the lows again a little more, because we need to I want to bring them up by a few decibels. All right, you're kind of low right now. You're at like -8. I'd like them to be at least at -6, especially for this style. So let's bring them up by 2 decibels.
Energy is all I need. Let's take a second just to breathe. Unapologetically, all I'm gonna be is me. Gold is what I fucking bleed from a different.
Honestly, that's okay. You don't have to get rid of that second harmonic. I think it's fine. Yeah, you just turn your bass up a little bit. Maybe that's all it is, right? Easy. Easy. However, if later on when you're mixing this down and you're running into issues where you're missing, where the headroom is like not easy clap. what easy clap? You're running into issues where your headroom is running out and you're starting to get distortion, then what you can do is tuck that second harmonic down a bit more.
Energy is all I need.
Whoa, shit, not you. This one.
Energy is all I need.
So this one right here, which I want it right on that E.
Energy is.
Okay, let's go ahead and turn the Q up on the right one. I keep fucking with the wrong one. Pull the gain down.
Energy is all I need. Let's take a second just to breathe.
And then instead of that one, emphasize the third harmonic, which is going to be your B right here. Which one am I using now? This one. Here we go.
Energy is all I need. Let's take a second just to breathe. Unapologetically, all I'm gonna be is me. Gold is what I fucking bleed from.
So yeah, I would say that would be the balance right there. Like, you know, pull a little bit of the second out and add a little bit of the third in.
Energy is all I need. Let's take a second just to.
And actually, I really like having more of the third. I don't know if you can hear it coming through Twitch or not, but like, it really is like a nice richness that adds to that sound right there.
Energy is all I need. Let's take a second just to breathe. Unapologetically.
I would say do that. I would say, you know, add an EQ or adjust your bass to bring this third harmonic out a little bit more. Yeah. I mean, you can definitely keep it in there for sure. Like, I'm not saying you have to take it out.
Energy is all I need. Let's take a second.
I'm just saying if you run into mix issues, oftentimes, like, that can be what's causing it, because that second harmonic eats up a fuck ton of headroom. But if you don't have to get rid of it, then good, because it sounds nice. I always think it sounds nice, too. All right, the bass here. It's got that really, really cool wow, like that super spacey wonkiness to it. You can bring that out here for sure. Do whatever you can to make that more prominent. Because I really want to hear more of that. That's one of those sounds that, you know, and you hear like people like Distinct Motive or trying to think of who else. I mean, a bunch. I mean, you could. Depends on how you made the bass, right? How'd you make it? Is this like an operator patch? Serum preset from Ahi. Good fucking serum preset. Here's how I might do it. All right. Do you got Pro L? Dope. Pro L allows you to work with linear phase. So, wait, Pro L. I meant Pro Q. Sorry. Do you got Pro Q? All right, dope. So if you go down, if you add a Pro Q in here, you can switch this from 0 latency to linear phase. Now this is going to add a fuck ton of latency, and it is going to make your CPU jump. But most of us have computers now that can handle this. You just don't want to, like, you know, screw up the phase relationship, and that's what linear phase will do, is it keeps the phase relationship of your bass. And then I would add a high band, low band cut in here. So basically set this at like, I don't know, 100 hertz, and you can make it a little sharper, like 24. Group it up, call this high, duplicate it, and then on the second one, set it to a low band, like that. All right, so now you have your high and your low band split like that. Now you can do whatever processing you need on top of the one, or you can just turn it up, because it's really that stuff that's in like the 100 hertz to like 300 hertz range. Pretty sure it's kind of like around here. This is what I'm hearing. All this stuff right here I want a little more out of, you know. So now you can EQ it up a little bit, or you can add more processing. You can like add a very small amount of OTT or saturation, or OTT plus saturation combination, you know, just something to like tease it up in a gentle way, however you can. I mean, obviously, if you're going to EQ it up, you don't need to go through the whole process of doing this shit like that. You just use an EQ on it, right? But I would say that, you know, there are probably better ways to pull it out a little bit. And I would recommend a very tiny amount of OTT or some other type of upwards compression to try and pull that out. It's just a very cool sound, you know, pretty cool sound you got going on there. Bring out the wonk. Okay, your hat's just like really off to one side. Yeah, I would say your hat feels really like panned off to that one side there. And in general, I think you can have a much cooler hat pattern going on here. Do I still use multiband? I do. When I don't really care about fucking up phase. All right, like for a bass like that, I would probably be concerned with phase shifting. Now that doesn't mean it's gonna make it worse. You know, I might try multiband first and see how it sounds. And if it sounds fine and it's not ruining my bass, then I'll stick with that. But if I were to use, if I put it on there and the bass sounds different and I don't like it, then I will use a linear phase splitter. So that's my answer for that one. But I use multiband dynamics constantly still. It's usually my go-to first, actually. So yeah, I would say a more complex hat pattern in general here. Thicker, richer, add some other sounds in there, right? Like I feel like it's the hat's a little like tick, 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 tick. And in this genre, that top end, like shuffle and groove and swing is so important. You can probably bring it out a little bit. You can probably make it a little, busier. I don't like using the word busier because I always feel like, oh, you're just making it busier, but you get what I'm saying. It's a little bit more. Right? Like I also like to use the Lynn Collins break. This tambourine break is super sick. The Think break. So you just search the Lynn Collins. Yeah, exactly, Kevin. A shaker too would for sure be great. There. This Lynn Collins Think break is so dope, and I've been using it on everything lately. You know, you can process it any way you want. It doesn't quite fit in like super well, but I would probably chop it up a little bit. But like the quality of it is dope. You've kind of got these little triplets at the end here, so I'll cut the Think break on it. Dude, it's so good, right? It's just so good. Also, here's a little fun thing. I don't know if you have Digitalis or not. If you don't have it, it's a dope plugin to get. I love it. It looks hilarious. It has a cat. It's filled with memes. I love it. It's just a really fun little plugin. But something I've noticed with the Lynn Collins Think break, if I were to EQ all the lows out of it, if I pull the pitch shift down on it just like a little bit, like -5, so basically you can probably do this other stuff like pitch shift it and then add a little decimation of some sort, there's other decimation things. And then turn the mix and the decimation down. It gets this like much lower quality to it that can sit in a mix sometimes better. I don't know, it makes it a little more shaker, a little more shakery, and I kind of like that. So it goes from tam to shaker. But yeah, anyway, some Foley with the shaper box to make, yeah, totally Foley and shaper box, yeah. I wrote these moments crazy something diff. I meant these moments crave something different. These moments crave something like, right? I mean, you gotta put something in there. I feel like that. I feel like you know that. You know, a break, a fill, I don't know, something. Yeah, this bass is cool. You said you were waiting on vocals, right, for this part? Yeah. Okay. Dope. All right. Dope. And yeah, I just think the last comment I have for you is you can bring these vocals out more. It can be a little bit. They can be a little louder. So, yeah, man. You got any questions for me before I wrap up? And I do gotta wrap up. You'll be the last one because I gotta get a bunch of stuff done today. Absolutely, yeah. I'm gonna do this every Sunday at noon. Every Sunday at noon. I don't know if there's anyone in here watching right now that isn't in the Discord, but there is somewhere here in the chat a link to the Discord. Yeah, dude, I was actually thinking maybe you could co-host it with me next week. K-Fish Beach is going to be here in the studio with me next week. So it's going to be a double whammy. Dude's an insane producer. Raul, what the hell? Well, I mean, you guys were out probably until what, like 5:30 or 6 in the morning, so I'm not surprised. I'm actually like, I didn't think you were going to show up, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. He was probably out super duper late. Like 8 a.m.? Dude. Holy crap. No way. No way, man. Although I didn't go to sleep until like 5:30 in the morning either. I was home, dude. I was home eating cheese and crackers and watching the rest of Dune. Dune 2. Dude, Kevin, I went out with Adam Thursday night and was out till 6 in the morning. Feel terrible. I feel terrible right now. I didn't even stay out as late as those guys. I've had like 3 days in a row of just insanity. So, yup. Anyway, dude, all right. Johnny, great seeing you last night. Kevin, stoked to see you in just a few days here. All right, man. Well, when you're here, I'm going to make sure that we stay up until like 6 a.m. every single night. All right? You'll feel great. All right, cool. I'm out of here. You all, great hanging. Good to see you. If anyone's watching, you're not in the Discord is Hello Egos Wub Hub. And I don't know. I guess find it. Peace.